Officer Hastings, what's this all about? You should see for yourself, Detective.
Oh! Yeah, tell me about it.
So he was...
Split right down the middle, from the top of his head all the way down to his...
Reagan!
Please, the guy was sliced in two. I'd say his unit is the least of his problems.
Then you do not understand the sacred bond between a man and his unit.
Okay, so what was the murder weapon? Guillotine?
A sword. The tip broke off in the body. Blood spatter indicates that the killer first lopped off the victim's hand, then took the big swing.
Single-edged blade? Some kind of saber? Sword, that is so Game of Thrones.
Where's the body?
That is an excellent question.
You mean there's no body?
Nope, just lots of blood. Whoever it is, there's no way they survived.
So where'd they go?
You're the one with all the crazy theories, Castle.
Walking Dead.
But there are indications that the body was moved.
I think I know who moved it. I got witnesses that said they saw an unmarked white van fleeing the scene just after 7 a.m.
They get an eye on who was behind the wheel?
No, but we got unis canvassing for eyewitnesses and checking every street-level security cam in a 5-block radius.
Tire tracks. Okay, get a cast of the tire tread CSU might be able to get make and model.
2 different size footprints. There was at least 2 of them.
Yeah, but there's no tread on the footprints.
Must have been wearing booties.
Missing body. Killers who literally cover the tracks. Anyone else getting a quick strike assassin squad vibe?
Oh, come on, Castle. You're not saying this is some kind of black ops job.
I'm not saying it. The evidence is saying it. I'm betting this guy's buried at sea by now. Surgery?
Yeah. Sometimes the scar pulls a bit.
And you still don't remember anything about that day?
No, it's blank.
Wow. Who knew cement overcoats would be back for fall?
I need to chisel out the concrete by hand before I can autopsy, but it's pretty clear she was shot to death.
Found there's 2 slugs in the dirt. Looks to be a 9mm. Guy was a pro. Double tap. One in the back of the head, she falls, and he hits her again to make sure. Buries her in the sand.
And then waits for the cement truck to come in the morning to finish off the job.
Execution-style murder? Cement trucks? Can anyone else say mob hit? I'm looking at concrete evidence right here.
Is that purse from in here?
Yeah, according to her Pierce College ID, our victim's name is Jane Hertzfeld.
College student? It's not a typical mob victim.
Why, Detective Beckett, how very existential of you. Let me guess, art theory in college?
No, the closest I ever came to taking an art class was posing for one as a model.
Wait, posing in...
Not a stitch.
Meet Brian Hayes, 39, executive director of the museum.
Looks like somebody gave him liberty and gave him death.
Any idea when this happened?
Hayes was last seen at 10 o'clock by a Myrna Ramsey, museum's development director. His body was discovered around 10:21, so the killer must have struck sometime within that window.
Killing him during the gala, it's pretty ballsy.
My money's on. He walked in on the other crime being committed here tonight.
Jack Sinclair is hands down America's most accomplished ghost hunter.
Castle, Jack Sinclair is the name of our victim.
And the hunter becomes the hunted.
His throat was slit almost from ear to ear. Jugular, superior thyroid, common carotid, left and right. You name it, it's been severed.
Well, that explains all the blood. All right, who's our victim? Is it a showgirl? Some big money high roller?
No, our victim is Sam Siegel, co-owner of the Sapphire, where you're always a winner.
Yeah, not always, by the looks of things.
Guy cashed in his chips between 9 and 11. Took a small caliber to the chest. Muzzle flash burned his shirt at the point of entry.
Shooter was standing close.
Close enough to give him a bloody lip before pulling the trigger.
So what's a guy like Siegel doing in an abandoned delivery dock in New York City at that time of night?
Must have been something important enough for him to drive down from Atlantic City.
You know, the man owned a casino. A guy like that, you'd think he'd have a driver.
Especially since he was expecting trouble. He came heavy. It's a .357 Magnum with all 6 still asleep in the cylinder.
He didn't even pull it out of the glove box. If he did, we'd be standing over the other guy.
Yeah, you gotta know when to hold him and know when to fold him.
Know when to walk away, know when to run.
Detective Esposito, a little respect, please. I mean, there is a dead body here.
What'd I do?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
So what do we got?
Victim's name is Sarah Vasquez. She's a 28-year-old kindergarten teacher. She and a classmate were leaving this yoga studio when Sarah suddenly dropped.
Bullet wound straight to the heart.
Yeah, what's weird is no one heard a shot or saw a shooter.
Well, maybe the weapon was silenced.
Maybe it was a stray bullet. Just read an article how a mailman in Portland was killed when a bullet fired into the air 6 blocks away fell back to earth.
This bullet didn't just drop from the sky and hit Sarah Vasquez. Angle's wrong. It went through her from front to back, not from up to down.
Can you tell us point of origin?
Not until I do a full exam.
Was yoga a regular thing for Sarah?
Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 a.m. before school started.
Okay, let's look into enemies and anyone that knew she was here.
Victim is Henry Wyatt, 38-year-old attorney.
Same shooter?
Looks that way.
Anyone see or hear anything?
Nada, just like before. He went for the head this time. He's getting more confident.
Another victim, same time of day. This could be the DC sniper all over again.
Lady, is that the slug?
Yeah, it's all banged up from the concrete, but it looks like the same caliber. The angle of the entry is more extreme, though.
Shot Wyatt from higher up.
See something?
Beckett, you all right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why these two victims and why shoot here. Hey, lady, we got a jumper?
Judging by the impact, I'd say he came from one of those windows above the 7th floor. Ryan and Esposito already into finding the room with the hotel staff.
So, he's naked.
Perceptive.
Well, it is pretty cold out. If this was a suicide, wouldn't you rather be warm and toasty on your way down to your certain yet citrusy death?
If it were suicide, would you really have these fingernail marks only an hour old?
Well, looks like he did the deed before taking the dive.
Last item on your bucket list?
Yo, 2 hotel clerks saw a white lady with long red hair hurrying out shortly after birthday suit hit the fruit.
All right, see if you can get a better description from those clerks, and let's set up a canvas. We gotta find that woman.
No, you need to stop being a control.
You couldn't come in there.
You can't be in a control.
I've never been a control. No one's ever come in.
Sorry, are we interrupting?
No. Victim's a white male, late 30s.
Housekeeping found him when they came to clean the room.
Cause of death?
Not entirely sure yet, but there are indications of asphyxia with some cyanosis around the face.
So he was suffocated?
Maybe. Then again, there's this.
So he could have just OD'd, passed out face first, and suffocated.
Oh, no, it's definitely murder.
How can you tell?
Someone torched his fingers, burned off his prints.
They wanted to erase his identity.
And did a pretty good job, too. Its wallet's missing, and we've been through the room a couple of times. There's nothing here to tell us who this guy is.
Did he pay for the room in cash?
Yeah, and the clerk said that he registered as Jack Sparrow.
Well, there's a possibility that's his real name.
Sure it is. We're running it just in case.
Hey, lady, what do you got?
This is Laura Cambridge, 28, traffic found her in the passenger seat of the car.
Cause of death?
She was strangled between the hours of 8 and 10 last night. This bruising here indicates a chokehold. He probably grabbed her from behind with enough force to crush her hyoid bone.
So there was a witness?
No, but to kill her in one swift move like that, Perp had to be taller and heavier than the victim. No signs of sexual assault, though.
Was she strangled in the car?
CSU didn't find any signs of any struggle. Looks like her body was dumped here post-mortem.
Whose car is it?
Not hers. She had a non-driver ID card. Ryan's running the plate to see if we can find the owner.
And what about the purse?
This was tossed in the dumpster. Still has cash in it.
Cell phone?
Didn't find one.
What girl in her 20s doesn't have a cell phone?
Maybe she's Amish.
Hey, so I ran those plates off the sedan, and
What?
it's from the motor pool at City Hall.
City Hall? Who used it last?
Mayor Robert Weldon.
Victim is Francisco Pilar, judge of the dog show. We found him here in his dressing room. He still had cash on him, plus his wallet, phone, and a key card of some kind.
Is the cause of death what it looks like?
Yep, someone put a leash around his neck and pulled.
Do you guys have an estimated time of death?
I'll put together a window.
Excuse me, you're doing my job now? I didn't know you went to medical school. But go ahead, Dr. Esposito.
Okay. Last guy to see Francisco alive left this room at 5:15 to go get him some dinner. And Mr. Green found him like this 20 minutes later.
Okay. Thanks.
talk about a slice of history, the Pennybaker Club. You know, back in the 40s, all the greats played here. If these walls could talk, man, the stories they would tell.
Yeah, but the only story we need to hear is about...
Stan Banks, single GSW to the sternum. I'm calling the time of death between 6 and 8 this morning. Looks like he tried to defend himself with this. Obviously, it didn't work.
So robbery gone wrong?
Well, still had his wallet, cell, and a room key from the Parksville Arms, so...
Pockets were pulled out, indicating the killer searched the body. For what, we have no idea.
It's weird. He's got an SRO key, but his driver's license has him living on 34th Street.
We'll hit the SRO, see if there's anything we find out about him.
Thanks.
Neighbors heard a hellacious fight, and then our victim here sailed out of that 4th-floor window.
Was that his apartment?
We're checking, but it doesn't look like it. Tenants don't recognize him. He doesn't have any ID.
No ID, but lots of causes of death.
You mean other than gravity?
Oh, yeah. See that bullet wound?
So he was shot before he fell?
And stabbed.
Shot and stabbed.
And choked, and has a pencil jammed in the side of his neck.
Gives new meaning to the term overkill.
Did anyone see his attacker?
We're checking with witnesses, but I figured that our perp slipped out of the building during all the confusion.
All right, let's go see what they got. Hey, Lainey. So who's our victim?
Odette Morton. Cause of death is a single GSW to the heart. Probably a 9mm. She died instantly.
The bullet went right through her.
Well, unless our killer used a silencer, someone must have heard the shot.
Not necessarily. According to the stage manager, this area clears out once taping starts. Plus, the opening pyrotechnics could have covered a gunshot.
Well, that's assuming that she was shot just as the show started.
It looks like she was.
Yeah, the makeup girl finished with Odette at 2:45. Taping starts at 3, and she was discovered at 3:04.
19 minutes. That's not a very big window.
All right, see if the crew saw anyone near this room around that time.
You got it.
Hey, Ryan, can I get a list of all the guests that were invited to tonight's taping, along with anyone that checked in at security?
Already on it, but that's not the only way in here. There's an exit door down the hall. The crew guys like to prop it open so they can go out for a smoke.
So either our killer got lucky and found an unlocked door,
Or this was an inside job. Hey, Lainey, so what do we got here?
That's a good question. I can tell you this much. Based on body temp and lividity, our victim died between 10 and midnight.
claw marks. She was attacked by an animal?
Well, she was running from something. She's got dirt on her feet.
What animal in Central Park could maul a person to death?
I'm not even sure that's what happened. These lacerations look shallow, non-lethal, but I won't know exactly what killed her until I get her back to the morgue.
Do you have an ID?
No wallet or purse, so we don't know who she is.
Isn't it obvious? I mean, am I the only one seeing this?
What?
Red cloak in the woods, animal attack. She's Little Red Riding Hood.
Great Castle, I'll call in an APB for the big bad wolf.
Do you have a better theory? Right over there.
Is that what I think it is in her hand?
Poisoned apple?
She's Snow White.
It looks like we've got a fairy tale killer on our hands.
Oh my God. If you've just tuned in, there's been some kind of explosion on the southeast side of the Boylan Plaza. We do not know what caused this or if there are injuries, but I can see what appear to be people on the ground not moving.
This is unbelievable. Any idea how many people were killed?
Initial reports say 5 dead, 28 injured.
There's feds everywhere.
Well, that's normal procedure in the event of a bomb.
Nothing normal about this.
Detective, do the police know who's behind
They
this?
think this was a terrorist attack.
No comment. So I take it that this is Mr. Locke?
It appears he was set upon by an unknown assailant. Time of death was about 4 a.m.
Cause of death?
Well, probably blunt force trauma to the head where it hit the concrete.
Wallet and cash?
Still intact, so it definitely wasn't a mugging.
Savage beating at 4 a.m. There must be some motive.
Is this a bite mark on his arm?
It's not just a bite mark. Look at the skin. You see how it's torn? The killer latched on and shook like a pit bull trying to tear off the flesh.
Thanks. I think we got it. Anything else?
Just this. It was found on our victim's hand. It's probably torn off the killer's shirt during the struggle.
That's a lace cuff, hand stitched. Pearl buttons. I'd say this was circa 1870. I did a lot of research on the era. I was writing a book, a comedy about the Civil War.